Hello everyone, and welcome to UFO Evidence, your go-to channel for the most compelling and unexplained aerial phenomena from around the world. Today we're diving deep into a topic that has captivated humanity for decades: real UFOs over cities. We're not talking about distant lights in a remote desert. We're talking about strange objects witnessed by thousands, sometimes even millions of people in our busiest urban centers. These are the cases that defy easy explanation and leave even the most skeptical scratching their heads. So buckle up as we journey through some of the most famous and well-documented city-based UFO sightings in history. Our first stop is Phoenix, Arizona, March the 13th, 1997. What became known as the Phoenix Lights is arguably one of the most significant mass UFO sightings ever. Imagine this: thousands of people, from everyday citizens to the governor of the state, looking up at the night sky to see a massive V-shaped craft estimated to be over a mile wide, gliding silently over the city. It was dark, it had distinct lights, and it blocked out the stars behind it. The event actually unfolded in two parts. First, a series of stationary amber orbs was seen in a V formation. Later that evening, a second, more structured craft was reported. Witness testimonies flooded in. People described it as otherworldly and majestic. Pilots in the area reported seeing it on their instruments. The sheer number of witnesses makes this case incredibly difficult to dismiss. The official explanation from the military was that the lights were simply flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft during a training exercise. But many witnesses and investigators don't buy it. They argue that flares don't fly in a fixed formation, nor do they move silently and slowly across the sky for miles. The craft seen by so many was described as a solid object, not a series of individual lights drifting down. The Phoenix Lights remain a cornerstone of UFO research, a powerful example of a phenomenon witnessed by an entire city. Next, let's travel back in time and across the country to Washington, D.C. in the summer of 1952. For 2 consecutive weekends in July, the skies over the nation's capital became a stage for a truly bizarre aerial display. Unidentified flying objects were repeatedly detected on radar screens at Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base. These weren't just blips. They were targets moving at incredible speeds, making sharp, impossible turns that no known aircraft of that era could perform. At one point, 7 objects were tracked, moving over the White House. Air traffic controllers were stunned. They would see the objects on their scopes, and when they looked out the window, they could see strange, glowing lights in the sky at the corresponding locations. The Air Force scrambled F-94 Starfire jet interceptors to investigate. In a classic cat-and-mouse game, whenever the jets approached, the UFOs would either vanish or accelerate away at astonishing speeds, only to reappear once the jets left the area. The incidents made front-page news across the country, causing a public frenzy. The Air Force held a massive press conference, the largest since World War II, to try and calm fears. Their explanation? A temperature inversion, a weather phenomenon that can cause radar anomalies. But like the Phoenix Lights, this explanation doesn't quite fit the facts. It doesn't account for the visual sightings by experienced pilots and air traffic controllers, nor the intelligent, evasive maneuvers of the objects. The 1952 Washington, D.C. flap remains a powerful, officially documented case that brought the UFO mystery right to the doorstep of the US government. Now let's head south to Mexico City, a place with a long and rich history of UFO sightings. One of the most famous events occurred during a total solar eclipse on July 11th, 1991. As millions of people aimed their camcorders at the sky to capture the rare celestial event, many of them recorded something extra: a bright, metallic-looking object hovering in the sky near the eclipsed sun. This wasn't just 1 or 2 isolated recordings. Dozens of videos from different locations around the city captured the same object. Prominent Mexican journalist Jaime Maussan collected and analyzed this footage, bringing it to national attention. The object appeared silvery and disc-shaped. it remained stationary for a considerable period before moving away. Skeptics suggested it was a weather balloon, a satellite, or even the planet Venus. However, the clarity of some of the videos and the sheer number of independent witnesses make these explanations less likely. The fact that so many people were already filming the sky for the eclipse created a unique situation, a mass unplanned skywatch that accidentally documented a potential UFO. This event kicked off a wave of sightings in Mexico that continued for years, cementing the country's reputation as a hotspot for UFO activity. Moving over to Europe, we find ourselves in Belgium during what's known as the Belgian UFO wave. This series of sightings occurred between 1989 and 1990 and involved numerous reports of large, silent, triangular-shaped UFOs. The phenomenon was so widespread that the Belgian Air Force took it very seriously. On the night of March 30th, 1990, the situation escalated. Ground radar stations detected an unidentified object, and 2 F-16 fighter jets were sent to intercept. What followed was an extraordinary chase. The pilots locked their onboard radar onto the targets multiple times. The objects performed incredible feats of acceleration and descent, moving from thousands of feet to near ground level in just a few seconds. Maneuvers far beyond the capabilities of any known aircraft, then or now. The pilots visually confirmed seeing lights that would change color and dart around erratically. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't catch the objects. The Belgian military was remarkably transparent about the incident, releasing radar data and holding press conferences. They officially concluded that they had no explanation for what their pilots and radar operators had encountered. This case is a gold standard for UFO investigation because it involves trained military observers, multiple radar confirmations, and official acknowledgement from a national government that something truly unexplained was in their airspace. Finally, let's look at a more recent case from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport on November 7th, 2006. On a grey afternoon at one of the world's busiest airports, a dozen United Airlines employees, including pilots and ground crew, witnessed a dark, grey, metallic, saucer-shaped object hovering silently over Gate C-17. The object remained there for several minutes before suddenly shooting straight up into the sky at an incredible speed. It moved so fast that it punched a perfect circular hole in the thick cloud cover above, a hole that remained visible for some time afterward. The witnesses were credible, experienced aviation professionals. They all described the same thing, a silent, solid craft with no visible means of propulsion. Initially, both United Airlines and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, denied having any record of the incident. However, after the Chicago Tribune published the story, the FAA was forced to admit that a call had indeed been made from a United manager to the airport tower about the sighting. They dismissed it as a weather phenomenon. This explanation was widely ridiculed by the witnesses, who were adamant about what they saw. An airport supervisor who saw it said, "I have to tell you that what I saw was not a weather phenomenon. It was not a man-made object." The O'Hare Airport sighting is a modern classic, a stark reminder that these events continue to happen, even in highly controlled and monitored environments. So what do we make of all this? From Phoenix to Washington, Mexico City to Belgium and Chicago, the pattern is similar. Credible witnesses, often in large numbers, report seeing structured, silent craft performing impossible maneuvers over major metropolitan areas. Official explanations like weather balloons, flares, or temperature inversions often fall short of explaining the full scope of the events, especially the visual sightings and intelligent control demonstrated by the objects. These city sightings are crucial because they're hard to ignore. They aren't isolated incidents in the middle of nowhere. They happen in our backyards, over our homes and workplaces, witnessed by people from all walks of life. Each case adds another layer to this profound mystery. Are we being visited? Are these advanced military craft being tested in secret? Or is it something else entirely, something beyond our current understanding of physics and the universe? The evidence is compelling, and the questions are profound. As technology improves and more people have high-quality cameras in their pockets, it's likely that we'll see even more documented sightings over our cities. The stigma around reporting these events is slowly fading, thanks in part to the recent disclosures from the US government. The conversation is becoming more mainstream, more serious, and that's a good thing. Because whatever is happening in our skies, it deserves our full attention. What do you think? Have you ever seen something you couldn't explain in the sky over your city? Let me know in the comments below. I read every one of them. Thank you for joining me on UFO Evidence today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into urban UFO sightings, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, keep looking up